Today, we look at Michigan's early 2022 recruiting class. If you haven't yet, please share and subscribe to help grow the channel, and to help you enjoy the video. Today's video is powered by SeatGeek. Get $20 off any tickets sold using promo code AITRIGHT on the SeatGeek app or website. Michigan signed 4 recruits in their early signing period, a solid mix of players. The rotation currently includes players who have a pretty good chance of being gone for the 2022-23 season. As it currently stands, Eli Brooks, possibly Hunter Dickinson, Musa Giabate, and Caleb Houston will be leaving for pro aspirations or eligibility exhaustion. It's still up in the air if Brandon Johns uses his extra year as a super senior, so for this video, I'll just assume he'll be returning. Michigan more than likely loses a backcourt starter, a wing, and 2 frontcourt players. Jett Howard was able to go out and get a class currently ranked number 6 in the country. I have an individual breakdown for each player, and you'll see it flash in the top right-hand corner during each player segment. Gregg Glenn comes in as the 103rd prospect overall and the number 18 power forward in the country. Out of Calvary Christian in Fort Lauderdale, Glenn had offers from Arkansas, Florida, Miami, LSU, Florida State, Maryland, and others. He's about 6'7", 220, and he falls in that tweener category between being a guard, wing, and a post player. Glenn is most dangerous when he's within 15 feet of the basket, initiating as the aggressor. When he's floating on the perimeter, he does become a little bit disengaged, and that usually happens against lesser teams. He will not be able to do that next year against D1 competition. He has an okay jump shot form, not great. He is best in spot-up type situations, but I'd much rather him being aggressive and playing around the basket. He's also a very underrated passer. One part of his game I really like is his unselfishness. He'll find guys on the court for threes and dump-offs once he attracts defenders. Now, even though a couple guys in his position won't be back next year, there are still plenty of 3s and 4s on this roster, including Terrence Williams, Brandon Johns, Isaiah Barnes, Will Cheddar, and also taller backcourt guys like Zeb Jackson and Kobe Buffkin who could slide down to play the 3. The ways to get early minutes on next year's team is to find a consistent jumper and be ahead of schedule defensively. Doug McDaniel comes in as the 60th prospect overall, the number 8 point guard in the country. 5'10", 5'11", 160, coming out of the toughest non-prep basketball conference in the country, the Paul 6 point guard had offers from schools like UConn, LSU, Florida, before committing to Michigan. Doug has had an interesting high school career, playing alongside an All-American backcourt with current Duke starting guards Jeremy Roach and Trevor Keels. Being the underclassman with those guys, he was the point guard at times, and other times he had to be the second or third option off the ball. Now with those 2 gone, he's the man at Paul 6 with the keys. Earlier in high school, one of the bigger questions was his jump shot. But over the last year or so, his jump shot has been improving drastically. His catch and shoot threes look good when off the ball, not as consistent off the dribble or with the heavy contest, but he shoots it well enough where teams have to know where he is. He's quick with the basketball, really tight handle, probes and slices the defense, finds shooters and cutters for easy shots. Defensively, he can guard both positions. He takes pride on that end of the basketball court. His chance for playing early is pretty interesting though. Eli Brooks leaves, but Devontae Jones or Frankie Collins still have eligibility left. And we've seen Juwan go out and get a transfer point guard in each of his first full 2 years of recruiting. We'll see if the staff goes that route again. Tarris Reed comes in as the number 38 prospect overall, the number 8 center in the country. The 6'9", 235-pound recruit went to Chaminade College Prep in Missouri, but felt he needed more national exposure against the best of the best, so he transferred to Lake Academy. His development has been so good. He's gotten better and better each time I watch him play. Now, as a top 50 player, he has some big schools after him like Michigan State, Ohio State, Kansas, Purdue, Indiana, Florida. Now, early on, he was thought to be a Michigan State lean, but then went on a visit to Ohio State, and Ohio State impressed him. So much, he was actually close to committing to the Buckeyes, but his inner circle told him to make sure he takes his visits. Then he visited Michigan, and he was blown away by Juwan and the staff, and Terrace committed soon after. Skilled big man, compare him to David West, can finish over either shoulder, has a nice jump shot, can handle the ball a bit for his size. This is a guy who I can see coming in and playing right away. He will also be able to play with other bigs with his ability to stretch the floor and length on the defensive end with a 7'4" wingspan. With it likely being Hunter Dickinson's and Musa Diabate's final year, he battles Will Cheddar and Brandon Johns for minutes. That's without knowing if the staff looks into the portal for more big man depth, but right now, I'd peg Tarris Reed as highly likely to get quality rotation minutes from day one. As of now, at 6'7", 220, Jed Howard comes in as the highest rated recruit at number 36 overall, the number 11 small forward in the country. He spent his last 2 years at IMG Academy, and despite being the son of Michigan coach Juwan Howard, he still went through the recruiting process, being pursued by schools like LSU, Georgetown, Tennessee, NC State, before ultimately choosing Michigan. Started watching him when he was just a 6'5" sophomore, and his physical growth since then has gotten better and more impressive. He's a competitor. He wants to win, wants to take and make big shots with the game on the line. Not everyone is built mentally like that. He continues to impress with his shooting ability from deep. With his height and size, he doesn't just settle for jumpers. He's a physical player who wants to finish around the basket too. If you look at the way his brother Jace has filled out after just 1 year at Michigan, I'm excited to see how Jett continues to change his body. His game translates well, and this team is going to be without their best shooter, Eli Brooks. And for a team who needs shooting badly, Jett is a much-needed addition to the roster. I see him in that positionless type of role where he can play the 2, 3, or the 4, and he still has some competition awaiting him. He'll be battling Terrence Williams, Isaiah Barnes, Gregg Glenn, Kobe Buffkin, and Zeb Jackson. I like the pieces in this group. I see a couple guys getting early rotation minutes to fill some voids. It's Michigan, so there's rarely an offseason without worrying about early entries to the NBA. And once again, it seems like Michigan loses quite a bit after this year, but some decisions still have yet to be made. With how things seem to be trending, this is shaping up to be a fairly young roster featuring Terrence Williams and possibly Brandon Johns and Devontae Jones as the only rotation veterans returning for the 2022-23 season.
Dan Dockage can't guard me.